And welcome to Embassy TV. I'm Purnima Sharma, and today you are watching a very special episode with us. Today on our show is a very special guest with us, Mr. Gyula Petho, Ambassador of Hungary, and today we are discussing India-Hungary relationship. Welcome, Mr. Gyula Petho, to our show.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure and a great honor for me to being interviewed.
Mr. Gyula Petho, it's been a long journey since the first Hungarian landed in western coast of India way back in 16th century. Since then, it's been a very long journey between both the countries. Where do you see the cultural relation growing in the present scenario?
Hungary and India, apart from the long-standing cultural and the so-called people-to-people relations and cooperation, have a very wide-ranging sphere of cooperation. Though culture somehow historically was one of the basic for the relationship between the two countries and the two nations. I'm talking about the two countries when Hungary was the Hungarian kingdom or part of the Austro-Hungarian monarchy, and India was part of the British Empire, but as well as the modern India and modern Hungary's relations, always considered as close, strong, problem-free, where cultural ties and educational cooperation was always a priority element. And I do hope that it goes on and it remains in the future too.
There has been a huge interest in Hungary about Indian art and culture. Way back, Indian Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore's works being translated in Hungarian. Where do you see the cultural ties growing in literary field?
I'm very glad that you mentioned Rabindranath Tagore because 90 years ago, exactly 90 years ago, Rabindranath Tagore spent some time in Hungary. The occasion was not very happy occasion because he was traveling in Europe, but he got sick, and he has decided to go to a famous Hungarian hospital, which is not a classical hospital, but a kind of a sanatorium near the Lake Balaton, in a small town called Balatonfüred, where he was treated, and somehow this stay in Hungary established a kind of I don't say a cult, but a kind of a strong relationship between the Hungarian intelligentsia and the Indian literature, especially Tagore. His works had been translated actually before he visited Hungary, but his visit somehow gave a boost for Hungarians wanting to learn more about Tagore and about the Indian culture, which included not only the classical Indian literature, but Indian religions as well. He was basically not talking about religion. He was talking about the importance of the so-called, I don't really like the word, but the so-called peaceful coexistence of religions. And just 10 days ago, we had inaugurated a Hungarian room in Kolkata at the Gyula Museum in the Tagore House, which is a more or less a replica of his room in Hungary, added with some original photos and newspaper cuts about his visit in 1926. And we hope that this room in the Tagore House, the so-called Hungarian room in the Tagore House, is going to be a very popular tourist destination as well. In Balatonfüred in Hungary, Tagore's room is kept in the sanatorium as it was at his time, but the most important part is not the room or not the hospital, but in the garden of the hospital, Tagore planted a tree when he was there. Since that time, it is somehow kind of a pilgrimage site for Indian visitors going to Hungary. All Indian presidents, prime ministers, vice presidents, foreign ministers, other high-ranking officials who had visited Hungary, and if there was a chance, they went to Balatonfüred and they also planted a tree in this park, which is now called the Rabindranath Tagore Park. And there are, I don't know, over 20 trees planted by Indian dignitaries, and we hope that this is going to be this tradition is going to be continued, because this is the kind of an insurance that Rabindranath Tagore's name and his works will be alive in Hungary and among the Hungarian society.
In the past, Hungarian scholars have invested years in studying Buddhism and Buddhist culture. Is still there interest in Hungarian scholars to study Buddhism or Buddhist culture?
Yes, absolutely. Near Budapest, the capital of Hungary, Buddhist institute or kind of a university, which is a private university. But I think that the most well-known and most important person who had studied Buddhism, it was Alexander Csoma de Körös, most probably in India the best known and most famous Hungarian Orientalist, who arrived the early 19th century to the today's territory of India. By the way, he was coming from Hungary by foot, and he was looking for the ancestors of the Hungarians, the Hungarian nation ancestors, knowing that we are an Asian nation. But in India, he spent some time in Ladakh, and after Ladakh he went to Kolkata, where he joined the Asiatic Society. He became the librarian of the Asiatic Society, and he started studying Buddhism, and he is the person, a Hungarian working for the Asiatic Society, who has written the first ever Tibetan English-Tibetan dictionary and grammar. He became kind of an honorary monk, a bodhisattva in the early 20th century, but in 1842 he was planning a trip to Tibet, but unfortunately he died on the way in Darjeeling. In Darjeeling, his tomb is still kept by the Buddhist monks, and they take care, together with the Asiatic Society, take care of his tomb, and even the street where the cemetery is located in Darjeeling is called Alexander Csoma de Körös Avenue. And that tomb is a symbol of the Hungarian Orientalism, and whoever high-ranking Hungarian visitor is coming to India, if time permits, he or she has to go and visit the tomb of Alexander Csoma de Körös. But apart from Alexander Csoma de Körös, there were several other Hungarians who had contributed to the bilateral cultural cooperation, and contributed very much to the Indian culture. And I would like to name just a few. The most famous Indian lady painter, Amrita Shergill, she was Hungarian. Her father was Indian, her mother was Hungarian. She was born in Hungary, If you go in here in Delhi to the National Museum, you will find two halls dedicated to Sir Aurel Stein and his findings from Inner Mongolia. Sir Aurel Stein was a Hungarian. There were two more ladies painters who came to India because of Rabindranath Tagore, because they met him in Hungary. Elizabeth Brunner and Elizabeth Schaschbrunner. The Indira Gandhi National Center of Arts has over 200 paintings of the Brunners. It's a mother and daughter. And their hometown in Hungary, which is called Nagykanizsa, that museum has around 120 paintings of the Brunners. And these are just a few, but I can talk about Ervin Baktai or Armin Vámbéry, those Hungarian Orientalists who were visiting India, who contributed to the findings of the history of India, mainly North India. Actually, I have to admit that at least we do not know about famous Hungarian scholars who had visited South India. But North India was very much on the map of the Hungarian Orientalists. Close cultural relationship or ties, these were established by these people in the 19th and 20th century. As I told you, I can talk about a lot about the cultural relations, but this is the past. In the today's world, in the 21st century, the Hungarian Cultural Center is the center of the Hungarian culture in India. I think that the fact that Hungarian language is taught at the Delhi University, there is a Hungarian faculty, or Hungarian chair, and there are, as far as I know, around 20 students studying Hungarian language. There is an Indology faculty at the Budapest Eötvös Loránd University, where Sanskrit and Hindi is studied. It gives us the insurance that these relations will go on and will even be, if possible, closer than in the past.
Mr. Gyula, there is a small community of Indian students studying in Hungary. Can we hope to see more research and educational exchange program in near future?
We do have a cultural and educational exchange program, and of course we have a full agreement, and the exchange program is usually renewed after every 3 or 4 years. The most important in this regard, in 2014 the Hungarian government offered 200 fully paid scholarships to India, to Indian students. Fully paid, I mean that the only cost what an Indian student or his or her family has to pay is an air ticket between India and Hungary. Everything else, boarding, lodging, even we call it some pocket money, is covered by the Hungarian side. The stipendium is given by the university, but the amount of this, it depends on your results. So it is not the so-called pocket money. The pocket money is just given by the Hungarian side, and the university is giving after your results a certain amount of monthly allowance. 200 seats, 200 scholarships. Hungarian side did not specify that. I think it is very important that from these 200 it has to be, I don't know, 85 BA, 75 MA, and the rest is PhD. It can be used in whatever university, in whatever faculty, and if it is 200 PhD, most welcome. If it is 200 MA, most welcome. This so-called Stipendium Hungaricum program, the offer of scholarships, it is mainly offered for those faculties and those universities where the language of teaching is English. So we have almost every Hungarian university has English language courses for foreign students. And this offer of 200 scholarships, it is for 5 years. So every year 200 for 5 years. So at the end of the 5th year, there will be, we hope, 1,000 Indian students studying in different Hungarian universities. And I think it's well known in India as well that when they finish their studies and when they come home, they will become kind of honorary ambassadors of Hungary. And everything is in English, but during those years, definitely they pick up some Hungarian words and they learn somehow the Hungarian language, especially if they have Hungarian friends or girlfriends, then it is going to be much easier. But this is only the scholarship. Apart from that, we have Indian students at the moment who are studying in Hungary, but they pay for their studies. The Hungarian education system, especially the higher education, is absolutely world class. Just as an example, Hungary has 13 Nobel Prize winners. We have a population of 10 million, so basically half of Delhi. But we have 13 Nobel Prize winners. 11 of them, they studied at the Budapest Technical University. So this is just an illustration about the quality of the education. We have approximately 60 Indian students who pay for themselves, so who are apart from the scholarship program. Most of them are studying at the Technical University and the different medical universities. The Hungarian diplomas accepted all around the world, in the European Union, in the UK, US, Canada, Australia, everywhere. And I can tell you that while the quality of education is absolutely world class, the cost of living and the cost of education is much less than the qualitative universities in the UK or in the US. And I do recommend all my Indian friends who have children of that age to think about Hungary as well, not only about the Ivy League or the most famous British universities, but think about Hungary. And there is one very interesting element. I met two families, Indian families. The children are studying in Hungary. Two girls are studying at the Medical University in Budapest. And the families of these two girls told us that one of the reasons they have chosen the Hungarian university, it was that Hungary and Budapest is much safer for girls than let's say London or New York or the huge megapolises. To tell the truth, I never thought about it, but this is a very serious point, that where to send the children. So yes, educational exchanges are continuing. From Hungary, we do not have, as far as I know, students who are studying the full term in universities, but every year we have around 15 to 30 Hungarian students coming to India for 3 months or for one full semester as exchange students, based on the cooperation between direct cooperation between Hungarian university and Indian university. It's a government offer, which means that the Indian side is the UGC, the University Grants Commission, which is dealing with the scholarships, and as I said, there's no limitation. So if an Indian student wants to do his or her PhD, most welcome. But if an 18-year-old student wants to go to Hungary to study a full term, so BA, MA, and probably a PhD, most welcome. So we do not specify. We do not give numbers that this has to be medical university, this number has to be the technical university. If the Indian side wants to send 200 students to the Budapest Technical University, most welcome. One more thing about the universities and about the education. By numbers, the number one foreign country which is sending students to Hungary is Germany. The second is Norway, and the third is Israel. And these three countries are, everybody knows, highly developed countries, but still they know very well that the Hungarian education is world class. I strongly recommend to Indian families to visit Hungary. So visit online and on the net, but visit physically Hungary. Look around, check what are the opportunities there, and then decide about the education of their children, because we have a few cases where tourists went to Hungary, so Indian citizens went to Hungary as tourists, and they came back, and then they started asking the cultural center or the embassy about the educational opportunities, and sent their children to Hungary to study. So it is not a commercial break, but since the Air India is flying a direct flight to Vienna, it is 2 hours 15 minutes from Vienna to Budapest by train. So we do not have direct flights from India to Budapest, but Vienna is so close that it cannot be a problem to reach Hungary.
And you have spent long time in India. So share your perception about India.
I've been here now for 5 months, but 10 years ago, well, 15 years ago, I served in our embassy as a deputy head of mission, and I've been here at that time for 5 years. And I still remember there was a slogan. Actually, there were two slogans. One was Incredible India, and the second was Unity in Diversity. So my impression was and is that India is basically not, it cannot be considered as one single country. It is a subcontinent or it is a continent. North India is completely different from the south. Northeast is completely different from the northwest or southwest of India. India gives everybody the opportunity to learn every day something new. I used to joke with my friends that if they want to write a book about India, they should do it during the first 6 months of their stay in India. Because after 6 months, they realize that they don't know at all India. So actually, a Hungarian Indologist said that one lifetime is not enough for India. I don't know if it's true or not, but my impression is that this is a place where every day you see something new. Everywhere you go, you find something different from the other places. The people of India are, especially if they learn that somebody is from Hungary, they turn towards the Hungarians with an absolute positive mindset.
Does the colors of India overwhelm you? Its dances, music, culture, and food habits. Share your perception about our country.
I start with the food because there we have some commonalities. In Europe, Hungarian food is considered as a spicy food. The Hungarian spicy food is basically nothing compared to the Indian food, but we use a lot of paprika and different spices in our kitchen, and this is a very positive element of settling down in India. That the food is, so you cannot find any Hungarian who doesn't like the Indian cuisine. Music and dances, it's completely different, but most of the Hungarians are amazed of the Indian dances. Let it be Kathak or Kuchipudi and other styles, or something Rajasthani or Punjabi music and dances. The classical music, I must admit that I'm not an expert on the Indian classical music. I like it, but I don't know it.
And what commonalities do you see between India and Hungary?
We are talking about culture, so I'm not going to start talking about politics and economy. We like the colors. We like our traditions, and we enjoy, or we try to enjoy, our everyday life. Very important, I think, apart from these general segments, the fact that the rural population of India, and we do not call it really rural because we are such a small country. We are a great country, but small in size. But the rural traditions and celebrations are now, I think, in both countries, somehow returning to the everyday life of the people. Doesn't matter, people live in the rural areas or in big cities, and this is a kind of a common element or feeling, but I am now feeling being again in India, and this, I don't know, maybe it's a new chic or a new mode that the rural traditions, the rural colors are entering into the urban culture. But at least in Hungary it happens, and what I see here, and when I talk to my friends, it happens here in India too. So this is common.
What various special initiatives you have taken to strengthen the cultural relations between both the countries?
It's a very, very special initiative. There is a very special Hungarian form of art, which is called operetta. Operetta is not, the word operetta means small opera, but operetta is a kind of a musical on stage, fantastic music, equal to the classical opera music, but a little bit like a Bollywood style scenario. So always love is in the center, sometimes like in Bollywood movies, the family is against the relationship between boy and girl, but it is always finishing with a happy end. It's singing, dancing, fantastic music, and prosa as well. So it's, I said it's something like a Bollywood movie. This operetta is a typical Hungarian. You cannot find anywhere else, except for Austria, Vienna, because the operetta was born at the time of the Austro-Hungarian monarchy. But in March, we hosted here the artists and musicians from the Budapest Operetta Theatre. And there were two performances, one here in the embassy, in my residence, for a smaller group of guests, and in the Habitat Center, in the Stein Auditorium. Around 400 people watched the performance, and it was an unbelievably huge success. I was a little bit afraid that for the first time ever in the history of India, an operetta is staged in Delhi, and we didn't know what will be the reaction of the Indian guests, but it was an absolute success. So this we want to continue, and we want to continue with Hungarian classical music, especially because one of the most famous Hungarian composers, Béla Bartók. Next year we are, actually this year and next year we are celebrating or commemorating his death anniversary. So we would like to bring some more Hungarian classical music, but at the same time we would like to bring to India some more Hungarian traditional, so-called national music and dances. I hope that those performances will be as popular and as well received as Indian cultural groups' visits to Hungary. Let it be, as I said, Punjabi folk music or classical Indian dances. The second half of June, from the 17th to the 22nd, as far as I remember, there will be an Indian Cultural Week in Hungary, where Indian classical music will be shown to the Hungarian public, classical dances. I met Shovana Narayanan. She is going to perform in Hungary with her students, and it will be this week will be closed with a big bang, if I may say. On the 21st of June, of course, half of Budapest will celebrate the World Yoga Day. And I do not have information which part of Budapest, but definitely one of the top squares or streets of Budapest will be turned into the huge yoga class. And these are people to people and cultural events, but these are the events which establish the absolute solid base for our political and commercial ties.
Do you see the need for a new cultural agreement between both the countries?
When I came to India this time as an ambassador 5 months ago, I had one extra task, apart from the classical political, economic and other issues. This is what I discussed with the director of our cultural center, that we have to widen our presence in India. We have the embassy and the cultural center in Delhi. We have a consulate general in Mumbai. We have honorary consuls in Kolkata and in Chennai. These three cities, the representation in these cities gives us the chance to have cultural programs outside Delhi. In Delhi, I think people know quite well the Hungarian culture. But my plan is to go and show other parts of India what Hungary can offer. And when I'm talking about cultural program in different cities, like not only in the megapolises like Kolkata, Chennai, or Mumbai, but Hyderabad, Bangalore, Pune, Lucknow, Amritsar. I cannot pronounce Trivandrum, Tiruvananthapuram. If we go there with a cultural performance, then we always try to combine it with a presentation about Hungary. Of course, the economic opportunities and the educational opportunities. So this is what I think we have to do, because in Delhi and now because of the Consulate General in Mumbai, there people know what does it mean, Hungary and Hungarian culture. But other parts of India, it is a huge task, but we are trying our best. We are working on bringing the famous Hungarian movie Son of Saul, which this year got the Oscar for the best foreign language film to India, though it is about the Holocaust, this is not a funny movie, but it's a very serious issue and a serious movie. Apart from that, we have Hungarian films. In the Cultural Center, we have a Hungarian film club. And I think every week there is one evening where Hungarian films are shown in the Cultural Center with English subtitles. But I forgot to mention that discovering Hungary is also can be done through Bollywood movies, because we have more and more Indian film crews going to Hungary and shooting movies in Hungary. Late 90s, early 2000, there was an Indian movie with Aishwarya Rai shot in Hungary, but according to the story, it was Italy. And there were some family problems, as I heard from my Indian friends, that a gentleman who had been in Hungary said, "Oh no, this is Budapest, this is Hungary." But his wife, she said, no, this is Italy, because according to the story, it happens in Italy. No, this is Hungary. No, this is Italy. And a friend of mine, this gentleman, told me that he was forced to take his wife to Hungary to show her the original scenes. But now more and more Indian movies are shot in Hungary, as in Hungary. And last year, I do apologize in advance, because I do not exactly remember the title, but it was with John Abraham, and it was the Doom 4 or something. It was shot in Budapest, and I think it was stopped, the shooting, for a week, because there was an action scene and he got injured. And so Budapest is getting known as a good place for shooting a movie. There is a little extra to that. The Hungarian governmental commissioner for film industry is a Hungarian gentleman who is Hungarian, but most of the people know him or think that he's an American. He's Andrew Vajna, or Andy Vajna, who was the producer of all the Terminator and other Rocky and Rambo movies. He's a Hungarian gentleman, and now he lives in Hungary, and he's a government commissioner for film industry. So his name itself is somehow makes the Hungarian sites better or more sought after. But we have studios in Hungary. If you have seen the movie The Martian, The entire movie was shot in Hungary. And approximately 20 kilometers from Budapest, we have the largest studio complex in Europe, where several American and British TV serials are shot there. So this is another opportunity to discover Hungary through films, not only through Hungarian films coming to Hungary, but watching Indian Bollywood movies.
And may I ask you that what is the fondest memory you would want to take back once you complete your term in India?
Being here only for 5 months, I'm at the moment, at least, I'm not really thinking about the end of my term, because I have, I hope, 4 more years to be here, because this is the normal term of posting for us. But when I'm in Hungary and I'm talking to my relatives, friends, and if they ask about India, what are the most, what I remember, or what I like, or what I think about India, it's usually the answer is very short and very easy. It is everything, which is, I know, a very general answer, but my most fond memories, if I can say after 5 months now, but 5 years previously, is the scenery. I'm planning to go to Chennai and Tamil Nadu and that part of India. Northeast is always in my calendar or my plans. But as I said, everything: the food, the people, the colors, the positive attitude of the people towards us, towards Hungarians. I know that usually foreigners are welcomed everywhere in India, but somehow when people learn that these tourists or these official visitors are from Hungary, then this positive attitude even becomes more positive. This is what I like very much. We are always complaining as Hungarians, you know, that in summer it's hot, in winter it's cold. If there is a rain, it is raining. If there is no rain, then why there is no rain? So somehow we are always complaining. But here in India, you just accept what is around you. You want to make it a little bit better, and my job is basically, I don't want to be diplomatic, but very frankly, my job is to sell Hungary in India. And it means from A to Z, so everything. And I think that the Indian public is a good customer.
Thank you for talking to us. It's been a pleasure talking to you and sharing so many commonalities and historic cultural relations between both the countries.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity.
So that was Ambassador of Hungary, Mr. Gyula Petho, who was sharing India-Hungary cultural relationship, how India and Hungary have a long-standing relationship.
It's a great pleasure and honor to be interviewed by the Embassy News, and I wish the Embassy News and Embassy TV great success. I'm honored especially because this is the 21st century and this is a web TV. I'm sure that web TV is going to be the future, and as an ambassador I have to think about the so-called digital diplomacy. Digital diplomacy is definitely correlated to the web TVs and web news. So I think that the Embassy News is one of the pioneers of the classical digital diplomacy, and I'm really, once again, I'm honored to have the opportunity to talk to the public, those who are covering or those who are watching Embassy News. Thank you very much.